there, Internet, and welcome back to Geeky Ent. Now, on this episode, we're going to be talking about my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collection. Now, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been in my heart ever since I was a little kid growing up in Chicago. So, ever since I got my very first Ninja Turtle, which was Leonardo, I've had a beloved, special place in my heart for these little four Ninja Turtles. Now, for those that don't know, the Ninja Turtles is a very iconic cartoon. There's been different reiterations of the cartoons throughout the past 35 years or so. But for those that don't know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actually started out as a comic book. There was a documentary on Netflix called The Toys That We Grew Up With, and on that episode they discussed the Ninja Turtles, but it actually started off as a comic, an independent comic created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. And they basically just took their savings money, did an initial run of about 3,000-ish copies, and it sold out just like that. It had the dark, gritty, like, type of Batman type, I guess. It had that dark, gritty Batman type vibe to it. It's not what we saw in the late 80s, early 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, but there are different kinds of shows there. But we're not going to be talking about the shows today. We're going to be talking about Ninja Turtle action figures. Now, there's a ton of them to go over, and I'm going to be dividing this little series into possibly more than a few videos, because for starters, on this episode, we're going to be talking about my favorite line, which is made by Neca toys. And I have some convention exclusives, some Target exclusives, but Neca currently right now is developing these figures, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with one that really captured my eye back in 2017, I believe. Now, this one right here, this one right here was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that actually sponsored the animated classic Ninja Turtles. Now, this set here was actually the 2017 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and you can see the box art here sponsors the actual classic, you know, Shredder, Krang, the foot soldiers, and everything here like that. And we're going to go ahead and open this guy up and check it out here. So as you'll see, when you open up the package, you got your four classic turtles with a ton of accessories. Now, the amount of detail that Neca puts into these figures is absolutely astounding. The head sculpts are different for each turtle. The pizza, the actual weapons for the turtles were amazing. When you look at Shredder, he's got a fabric cape, and Krang, he's got the removable arms so he can go into his little walker there. And then foot soldiers, they came with two of them in this pack, because the whole premise of the foot soldiers is to army build. Now, I'm not so much an army builder when it comes to these guys, but you know, because these figures are considered collectibles, and when it comes to actually owning these, I'm an in-box collector, so I'll have a little video discussing what the differences are between the collectors. But there's a mint on card where you keep your collectibles inside the box or packaging, or there's a loose collector. May sound a little bit wrong for those dirty-minded people, but the loose type collectors are the ones that open up the packages, display their figures on a shelf, and actually have it housed so you can display it properly and everything. Then, one of my favorite lines the following year when I was at San Diego Comic-Con, for that animated San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, I actually passed on it during the convention because I said, you know what, it's cash, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just skip on it. But the following year, Neca blew it out of my mind. And the second I saw this next set, I just had to have it. Now, this was based off the first Jim Henson type Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. And as you can see, the box art actually resembles your old VHS tapes that you collected back in the day for you Ninja Turtle fans. So you can see here there's a bunch of different reviews and everything. Even the Neca logo was represented in a way that had the family home entertainment, or the FHE, that you found in your VHS package. Now, when you open up the slide-up case, you can see the amount of detail that's like any Ninja Turtle collector remembers this movie, or any kid growing up in the 90s remembered this movie. So you can see the crazy amount of detail. Each of these figures comes with their own signature weapon, many points of articulation. This one, when I saw it, I told Mary that I had to have this, and there was no way that she was going to convince me not to. I couldn't go out with it, so I couldn't leave the convention without it, so I just had to have it. Now, also that year in 2018, they released this street scene diorama. Now, this is made for typically the loose collectors, so you can see that you can display your figures here on an actual New York street scene, basically. And you can see here on the back that you can actually, there's a ton of space here that you can actually do what you want to. But I was on the fence about this, but when I saw that everything was selling out and looking online at the pricings of these sets, I said, you know what, let's just get it and go from there. Now, this set is actually very heavy, so I immediately went back to the hotel room to drop it off. Then the following year, 2019, they released the villains. Now, when you talk about good versus evil, bad guys versus good guys, the good guys are nothing without their villains, and the villains are nothing without the good guys, because without that, there's no story. Just kind of how could you tell if something is good or evil without the other? So this next year in 2019, San Diego Comic-Con released the actual Shredder. I believe this set was called Revenge of the Shredder. I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that. You can see here it comes with 2 foot soldiers from the Jim Henson movie, not Secret of the Ooze, but from the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies back in the early 90s. It comes with a highly detailed Shredder, and in the back there you can also see his cape. And Splinter is just meticulous. Like, it's amazing the amount of detail that Neca puts into their collectibles. This one also comes with a weapons rack, so you can go ahead and house the weapons the way that you want to display it here. And on the back, you can see some different depictions of what's called figure photography. I'm not into that stuff. I just like to have it just for nostalgic reasons, and it's just a crazy thing to have. A crazy thing to have that actually brings up something from your childhood that you just treasure still to your heart. Now, this one here is not a convention exclusive. This is mainly more for a accessory pack, but there was a scene in the movie where they discussed the origin story of the Turtles, and these actually depict the Turtles when they are touching the ooze and everything. So, as you can see here, it's actually pretty cool to see, you know, the amount of detail and everything. Now, this one also comes with the quarter scale nunchucks and hands accessories for Michelangelo. Now, what I mean by quarter scale is that NECA first released the quarter scale, so the Turtles are essentially 4 foot, so quarter of that divided by, 4, it's going to leave you with a foot collectible figure. Now, those were the first lines that NECA actually came out with the Ninja Turtles, and those sold out very well. So then in 2018, they released the 7-inch scale, which is what I showed you just earlier before. So, the last one I want to show you here on this video is one that is just, I just have no words. Basically, NECA partnered with Loot Crate, and they released a Spirit Splinter collectible action figure. Now, for those that have not seen the movie, one, I don't know why you haven't seen it. It is just dark and gritty. As a Ninja Turtle fan, we never discussed the third movie. Just like in Star Wars, we never discussed the prequels until the last season of the Clone Wars came out. But this is not about Star Wars, this is about the Ninja Turtles. So, in this figure here, you can see that it actually depicts a scene from the campfire when they were lost in, in despair and everything and trying to decide what to do. So the spirit of Splinter actually resonated from the fire and spoke to the turtles and gave them his wise wisdom. Now, this one actually comes with a light up campfire, and I've seen some crazy different uh, collectible photography where they've actually recreated the scene and everything. So, this one here is one of my most beloved figures that I'm glad to have in my collection. This one was not easy to find. I had to do some wheeling and dealing online, but I'm glad to have this one in my collection, and it's just flat out amazing. Now for this next one here, we're going to continue on with the animated series. Now, about a year or so later, Neca re-released the 8-pack that I showed you earlier in the video, and they released different variations of the Ninja Turtles. Now the first one I want to show you here is the Leonardo and Donatello 2-pack. So here's a little history lesson for everybody who doesn't know. Neca re-released all the convention exclusives in 2-packs. This is Wave 2. So Wave 1 was the first set of releases, and they were packaged differently. Now, in this one here, you can see that Leo and Donnie have different skin tone compared to the original releases. On Wave 1 and the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, they were the actual shade of green depicted in the animated classic. On Wave 2, NECA decided to repaint them more from their licensing products. So you can see here, whenever you see a photo like this of the Ninja Turtles, you'll actually see that they are brighter green, not that dark shade green that was found in the actual cartoon. So you can see here, it's the same figures that were released back in San Diego Comic-Con, just with a little bit of a different decor. So it's the same exact figure, just different color variations, and as a collector, if something has one color that's off, it drives them bonkers, and you just have to have it in your collection. So for here is also a Krang and Shredder. I believe, don't quote me on this, the Turtles were paired with a villain in Wave 1, and then in Wave 2, they went ahead and paired the Turtles and the villains together. So, you can see here that the Shredder and Krang and the 2-foot soldier, this is considered the army builder, so you can just buy a bunch of these and build up your little Foot Clan army, foot soldier, to take on your Turtles. But I believe it was, don't quote me on this, but it was Leonardo was paired with Shredder, Michelangelo was paired with a foot soldier, so was Raph, and I believe Donnie was paired with Krang. So these were re-released the following year. But now you're saying, Danny, why did you buy these things that you already have them? Is there any significant value, and are they going to be doing any new stuff? The answer is yes. And then this was the highly coveted 2-pack that was released. Not Comic-Con exclusive, not a convention exclusive in any toy fairs or anything. This was sold directly through Target, and this one was flying off the shelves before it even came on. I had to find this guy online just to get it in my hands. And you can see here that Bebop and Rocksteady are depicted exactly from the classic cartoon. There are many points of articulation. Like I said, I don't open these guys up just because I like to keep it pristine and everything, because eventually my collection does get sold here and there throughout the years. But Bebop's glasses do move up and down. He's got little beady eyes. They both come with their different hands where you can have their guns being held, and just many points of articulation through them. Their mouths open up and down too, and people will say, oh, well, that's just, that's just a toy, Danny, whatever it is. But it is. But life is too short just not to be happy about having something that just opens up and down, pretty much. So that pretty much goes through the actual animated classic. So you guys are probably wondering why that video was cut short, because I felt that the video was running a little bit too long. As you can see behind me, I have quite a bit of a collection for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so these videos are going to be separated probably throughout a few videos here. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on it. It is early morning here, so I'm just finishing up, wrapping up, editing this video. If you guys have any other things that you guys want to see, drop a comment below. Until then, guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to geek out.